Action and transformation. The foundation is built. Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to Module 5, Transformation through Action. This is a decisive moment in our journey together. Let me show you why. You have been building the foundation, your 4 pillars. Over the past 4 modules, you have been systematically building the foundation that makes meaningful action possible. Let me remind you what you have accomplished. Module 1, Self-Observation and Assessment. You created the first tiny space allowing you to even contemplate change. Through honest self-observation, you stepped back and looked at your life with clear eyes. You assessed where you actually are, not where you wish you were, not where others think you should be, but where you truly are right now. This created a small but essential opening, a moment where change became possible because you could finally see the gap between your current reality and what your soul desires. Module 2, Reconnecting with your soul and finding your mission. You defined where you want to go and reconnected with the never-ending source of energy your soul provides when you follow your purpose. This was about listening to the deepest part of yourself, understanding what your soul actually came here to experience and contribute. You answered the 3 most important questions. You clarified your mission. You reopened the channel to your soul's energy, that wellspring of vitality that flows freely when you are aligned with your purpose. Without this connection, action becomes exhausting. With it, action becomes energizing. Module 3, Building your network. You identified people who can help you, people from whom you can learn, and people who appreciate your talents. This added a material dimension to the spiritual energy from Module 2. Your network provides information and expertise, resources and opportunities, appreciation and compensation for your contributions, plus support and accountability as you transform. You moved from spiritual clarity to practical capability. Module 4, Strategic Planning. You learned to organize your energy and resources, focus them and make them productive. Your roadmap gave you direction and milestones. Your resource plan showed you how to build leverage. Your financial plan created stability and flow. Your action plan broke everything into executable chunks. You transformed scattered desires into a coherent strategic framework. The foundation is now in place. You now have the vision, power and determination to move into the unknown. But here is something crucial. This capability is also an obligation, not an obligation to others, an obligation to yourself and to the work you have done. Use it or lose it. The foundation stays strong only through action. This is your moment. The foundation is in place. You must move. Action means creation, not execution, creation. Now that your foundation is in place, let's talk about what action actually means. Most people think of action as execution, following instructions, completing tasks, checking boxes. And yes, there are moments when you execute processes that others have established. But that's not what we are talking about here. True action is creation. When you step into action aligned with your soul's purpose, you are not merely executing someone else's plan or repeating what others have done. You are bringing something new into existence, something that has never existed before and could only come through you. Following your soul's path. If we follow the path given to us by our soul, we follow the path to manifest our inspiration. This is a gift personalized to our journey of inner growth, shaped by your experiences, perspective, challenges mastered, and relationships built. And simultaneously, it's a gem for the world, a contribution that enriches reality in a way that only you can provide. Your task is to let that gem grow from the spiritual realm of fluid imagination into a reality supporting and enriching the world around us. From imagination to material reality. In the spiritual realm, in the space of your soul and imagination, your inspiration exists as pure potential. It is fluid, unlimited, not yet bound by the constraints of material reality. Through action, you bring this potential into the material world. You give it structure, form, tangible existence. You transform the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the actual, the spiritual into the material. This is creation. As your soul's inspiration moves through your mind, your body and your persona, as it encounters the resistance and resources of material reality, you transform. You become someone who didn't exist before, even in the spiritual realm. The gem that emerges is richer than the original vision of you, version of you, and vision of you, because you now carry the marks of your journey, the wisdom of your struggles, and the beauty of collaboration with others, and the precision that comes from working with real-world constraints. Why only you can create this? Your soul's mission is yours alone. No one else came here to fulfill your exact purpose. The path you have walked, the challenges you have overcome, the insights you have gained, these filter your soul's inspiration in a way completely personal to your journey. And when your soul, mind, body and persona work together in service of your purpose, you create something that has never existed and will never be duplicated. The more deeply personal your creation is, the more it emerges from your authentic self, the more valuable it becomes to the world. Because the world doesn't need another copy. What the world needs is the gem that only you can bring forth. Your inner growth and the world's enrichment aren't separate goals. They are the same process viewed from different angles. The teachers who guided you here. You have learned from teachers, studied methods and frameworks, absorbed the knowledge and experience of mentors and guides. You honor their wisdom. It helps you build your foundation. But you learned from them so you could create through yourself, not merely repeat what they created. You stand on the shoulder of giants, therefore you can look at a horizon they never saw, creating something they never imagined. This is what it means to enter uncharted territory. What uncharted territory actually means. Uncharted territory doesn't mean wandering blindly. It means entering the realm of known unknowns. Things you know you don't yet know. You know that surprises are coming, both pleasant and unpleasant. You don't know exactly what they will be or when they will appear, but you know they are inevitable. This is fundamentally different from reckless gambling. You are acknowledging reality. When you create something new, reality will respond in ways you cannot fully predict. Exploration makes the unknown known. As you explore this territory, you gather information, you test assumptions, you discover what works and what doesn't. You learn the terrain. What was unknown becomes known, at least partially. The territory becomes charted, first for you and potentially for others who follow. This is how all progress happens. Someone ventures into the unknown, explores carefully, maps what he finds, and creates knowledge where none existed before. The mindset of action, the explorer's approach. Creativity means exploration, and exploration requires a specific mindset. Carefulness. You don't rush blindly, you move thoughtfully, paying attention, protecting what's essential while testing new ground. Curiosity. You approach the unknown with genuine interest rather than fear. What will I discover? What will reality tell me? Acknowledgement and acceptance. When you find something unexpected, you see it clearly. You don't deny what reality shows you. You accept it as information. Flexibility. Sometimes you need a step back. A path that seemed promising leads nowhere. You adjust, you try a different angle. You don't confuse persistence with stubbornness. Opportunism. When opportunities arise, you recognize and act on them quickly. You exploit favorable surprises as you adapt to unfavorable ones. This is the mindset of action, not rigid execution, not fearless charging ahead, not passive waiting, but active exploration, moving forward with eyes open, mind alert, soul aligned, ready to learn from whatever you encounter. The territories of the unknown. Action always means entering the unknown. Whenever we take action, we move into the space of the unknown. This means pushing our limits, and it's not always comfortable. But it's necessary, sometimes unavoidable. And it's much easier if we do it on our own terms, rather than waiting until we are forced into it. When you choose to act from the solid foundation you have built, you are stepping into the unknown deliberately, equipped and ready. The different categories of unknown. Not all unknown territory is the same. There are fundamentally different categories, and understanding them helps you navigate more effectively. Think of these as 3 different depths of territory you will explore through action. The known unknown, looking for answers to questions you have asked. This is where we begin. The territory that borders our home turf, the space of what we already know. We know this territory exists. We have already asked some questions about it, and we are looking for answers. There is some guidance, some knowledge available. We see things coming, but we don't know exactly what, how, and when. An example from the financial world. It's like seeing in the financial markets an overload of public debt. We know with clarity that this must lead to some kind of change, because it's unsustainable. But we don't know how things will play out. We don't know when structures will crack, how the change will happen, or what the new stability will look like after the crack. In essence, we know there is a problem to solve, but we don't know yet how to frame the problem with clarity, and we don't have a solution. Example from my personal journey. At times I felt like a stranger in my own world. People around me didn't seem to understand me, and at times feared me. I had a hard time accepting their behavior. I knew something was wrong. I could feel the disconnection, the friction, the discomfort. So I asked myself, why can't I connect to them? Why can't I experience the fun about simple things like we do? Maybe you have been at a similar place. You question your sanity. Sometimes you think you might be mentally sick. We get many nice things, promotions, money, relationships, and you just look around at the edge and observe. But you accept that reality. In truth, you know you don't really want to be like the others. You ask questions, you test your behavior and its results. You start showing up as you are. This brings you to people more like you. You try connecting, still having some problems, but at least getting some answers. This is how we move inside the known unknown, asking, probing, observing, unsure with caution, but we move. Most of the action plan for Module 4 operates in this territory. You have identified interim objectives. You know what you are trying to achieve. You are executing action chunks designed to reach those objectives and gain specific clarity. This is important work, but it's not the deepest transformation. The unknown known, discovering what you thought you understood. This is deeper territory, and this is where real transformation begins to accelerate. Here you encounter things you already know, but don't truly understand. Things you thought you dealt with reveal new layers, new depths, new implications you never saw before. Action leads you to ask the right questions about what you thought you understood. You find yourself amending and deepening the meaning of concepts and experiences you believed you'd already grasped. A financial example. You wonder why suddenly you have trouble making the ends of your budget meet. Maybe you have been aware of a government's financial calamity, knowing they won't be keeping their promises. You expected a rupture, some dramatic event. But even with all your knowledge, you didn't realize the slowly creeping changes in prices, making things more expensive over time. You could have known it. You had all the information. But you looked at it with limited understanding. You didn't connect the dots correctly. A personal example. In the known-unknown territory, you were asking questions and exploring. You started showing up as yourself, connecting with people more like you. When you enter the unknown-known territory, when you discover that the key to you being different, behaving differently, and having trouble connecting is hidden in your childhood experiences. You knew about your childhood. Those events happened. You didn't forget them. But you didn't understand their meaning. You didn't see how they shaped you. You didn't recognize the patterns they created. How to navigate the unknown known. This territory requires a fundamentally different approach than the known unknown. In the known unknown, you can plan your exploration. You know what questions you are asking. You can identify resources, seek experts, test hypotheses systematically. In the unknown known, you must be willing to question what you think you already understand. This requires humility. It requires admitting your previous understanding was incomplete or even wrong. It requires looking at familiar information with fresh eyes, and it requires acceptance of the answers. The explorer's mindset becomes even more critical here. Curiosity over certainty, acknowledgement when action reveals faulty understanding. Flexibility to reframe problems and reorganize your entire understanding of the situation. This is harder when exploring the known unknown, because you are not just gaining new knowledge, you are transforming existing knowledge. You are not just filling gaps, you are restructuring your entire framework. Why this creates deeper transformation. The unknown known territory is where your mental models evolve, while in the known unknown you add information to your existing framework. In the known unknown, your worldview expands, but its fundamental structure remains the same. In the unknown known, the framework itself transforms. You discover that assumptions you build your entire understanding of yourself upon were incomplete or incorrect. Patterns you dismissed as noise turn out to be signal. Information you had all along suddenly connects in a way that reveals entirely new meanings. This is where limiting beliefs get shattered, not because you learned something new, but because you finally understood something you already knew. The information was always there, but your understanding transforms, and this transformation in understanding creates transformation in identity. It changes how you see yourself and how others see you. You are not just someone who knows more, you are someone who sees the world differently, who sees yourself differently. Much of your learning through the action-reflection rhythm happens in this territory. You execute an action chunk, expecting one result based on your current understanding. Reality shows you something different, and you discover that the information you needed was there all along. You just didn't understand its significance, or you dismissed it as noise. This is deeper transformation because it's permanent. Once you have seen a pattern that you couldn't see before, you can't unsee it. The paradox: self-confidence and humility work together. Navigating the unknown known requires a paradoxical combination: tremendous self-confidence alongside genuine humility. It's quite hard to face one's own errors. It takes a bold and fearless mindset to confront them. When you discover that your understanding was incomplete or wrong, when you realize you have been dismissing crucial information as noise, when you see that patterns you built your life around were faulty, this requires courage. Humility without self-confidence becomes paralysis. Self-confidence without humility becomes arrogance. But self-confidence with humility creates fearless learning. You are secure enough in your worth that admitting an error doesn't threaten your identity. You have the courage to say, I was wrong about this, and now I understand it better. The unknown known, you didn't even know it exists. This is the deepest territory and the most humbling. The great philosophers say, I know that I don't know, while the fools think they know everything, and it turns out they know nothing. The unknown unknown is where we discover we were being foolish. Where we realize that something we thought we understood completely, we didn't understand it at all. We were confident, we were certain, and we were wrong. It's like you thought you'd know it, but you didn't. This is different from the unknown known, where you had the information but didn't connect the dots. In the unknown unknown, you didn't even have the right framework for understanding. You thought you did, but you were operating from complete misunderstanding. We all are foolish sometimes. Yes, we are. And we should be. This foolishness opens the door to the unknown, to complete surprises, to unimaginable results. No matter how careful we are, no matter how much we learn, no matter how wise we become, at times we should allow the world to challenge the limits of our imagination. Unknown implies that we don't know we are in that zone. It's like moving on a road with confidence and behind a corner the road suddenly falls off a cliff. You weren't looking for this. You had no warning. You thought you understood the terror, but you didn't. The unknown can appear whether you are taking action or standing still, like a surprising banking crisis while you assumed the government had control over everything, or controls on how you spend your money are imposed. You thought you understand how the system works, but you didn't. The pressure that creates transformation. Those surprises and ambushes create the pressure that leads to your transformation. When you are operating in the known unknown or unknown known, you can process things gradually. But in the unknown, there is no time for that luxury. The pressure is immediate. The stakes are high. Your old frameworks have collapsed. You must respond now. When speed matters more than understanding. When we encounter a complete surprise, we must often react fast. And thinking is often slow. And in such cases, extra slow, because it has just been proven faulty. Your conscious mind just got caught completely off guard. It didn't see this coming. It doesn't have a framework for it. In those scenarios, intuition and the soul take the lead for a short moment. Your intuition, that direct connection between your mind and your soul, operates faster than thoughts. It doesn't need to analyze, it knows. Your soul sees beyond the material dimensions of space, time and matter. It perceives possibilities and dangers that your physical senses and logical mind cannot detect. This demonstrates how important it is that we take proper care of your subconscious mind and train our intuition continuously. The meditation routines, the reflection periods, the habits of listening to subtle signals, all of this prepares you for the moment when you will need these capabilities most. The groundwork for profound restructuring. Those intense experiences lay the groundwork for reorganizing and restructuring your subconscious mind and redefining your knowledge profoundly. When you are forced to respond from intuition and soul guidance in a crisis, when your conscious framework have failed you, when the pressure is intense and immediate, something shifts at a very deep level. The priorities you held will get reordered based on what actually mattered in the moment of crisis. The beliefs you operated from, the ones that proved faulty, get stripped away, not through argument, but through lived experience. From reaction to integration. But here is what's important to understand about the timing. We don't do this reflection in crisis mode. Here we react and interact with a surprise intuitively. We save responses in our subconscious mind. But the crunching, reorganizing, structuring and integrating with our existing information, this we do in the rest period, where we appreciate and integrate. Example, a banking crisis erupts. Your intuition screams to you, move assets now, withdraw cash, take protective action. You don't understand why, but the urgency is overwhelming. You act on it. Later, you learn you were one of a few who got their money out before the controls locked everything down. In that moment of pressure, your soul and intuition saw what your conscious mind couldn't. And that experience reorganizes something fundamental. You will never again assume government control means safety. That belief is gone, not through argument, but through lived experience. Why this is the most powerful territory. The unknown is where the deepest, most permanent transformation happens, precisely because you don't have time to resist it with your conscious mind. Your mental defenses are down. Your old frameworks have failed. Your soul and intuition step in and take action. And in that moment of pure response, unfiltered by conscious analysis, profound restructuring occurs. This makes crisis, while uncomfortable, so valuable. Allows disorienting surprises and ambushes create massive breakthroughs. The pressure forces transformation that years of gradual work might never achieve. How the three territories work together. We move into a known-unknown, seeking solutions, answers to known questions. This is where we direct our conscious effort, but much of the results and answers come from the unknown known. Maybe we find in the unknown known one answer, one single piece of puzzle that allows us to rearrange our knowledge in a fundamentally different way. This is where a lot of transformation happens. You thought you were just looking for an answer, but you receive an unexpected answer, so powerful that some of your deeply seated beliefs and assumptions about yourself and life started to look incomplete at best and plainly wrong. Pushed to the borders of the unknown. Most transformative, surprising, and often hard to swallow answers push you to the borders of the unknown, and in sometimes beyond those borders. The shattering of beliefs, that happens in the unknown, because you can only shatter beliefs you have. In the known unknown itself, you don't have even beliefs about what your experience is. You haven't formed them yet. There is nothing to shatter because you are encountering something completely outside of your existing framework. That is deeply uncomfortable, treacherous, difficult. You move slowly, cautiously. But you open up, soak in all information you can get, like a baby in its first days. You are just absorbing and recording. Ordering and structuring comes later. The rewards of unknown. You find questions you could never dream up before. You find solutions to problems you didn't even know that they exist. Here you find that stuff we call disruptive informations. Take Einstein's theory of relativity. Scientists dismissed experimental results we didn't understand as measuring errors. But Einstein asked, what if these results are correct? And that acceptance opened for him the door to the unknown, where he found the equivalence between energy and mass and the duality between waves and particles. Take smartphones. devices bringing computing power nobody imagined as possible. Now providing access to information, connections across the world, and the ability to deliver services to the remotest areas. Smartphones changed the distribution of power in the world profoundly, and the redistribution of wealth facilitated by those systems have just only started. The unknown unknown, where the gifts live. This is the space where you can pick up the gifts you are meant to bring to the world and carry them back for use of society. The disruptive innovations, the breakthrough insights, the unique contributions that only you can make, they live in the unknown territory. But here's what's critical. You must be already strong to move safely in the unknown. The realm of personal transformation, the shattering of limiting beliefs, the reorganizing of your understanding, the healing of old wounds, that happens in the unknown. The venture into the unknown, carrying the baggage of all those limiting beliefs would make you vulnerable. It could destroy you there. But once you have done the transformative work in the unknown, once you have shattered those limiting beliefs, reorganized your framework, built genuine strength, then you can safely venture into the unknown to retrieve the gifts waiting there. The journey sequence. This reveals the natural progression. You start in the known unknown, systematically exploring, seeking answers to questions you have identified. As you explore, you enter the unknown known, and this is where your personal transformation happens. Beliefs shatter, frameworks reorganize. You become stronger, clearer, more capable. This is the essential preparation. On your journey, you will encounter the unknown. Here you retrieve the unique gifts you are meant to bring to the world. You bring these gifts back, and they enrich society in ways that were previously impossible to imagine. And after venturing through these territories, you return to the known, to your safe home ground, where you rest, reflect, process all you have experienced, and integrate it into stable understanding that becomes the foundation of your next journey. Why all three matter? Each territory serves a crucial purpose. The known unknown provides direction and focus. The unknown known provides depth and wisdom, permanent shifts in understanding. And the unknown provides breakthrough and expansion, where you break through ceilings you didn't even know existed. Without the known unknown, you would lack direction. Without the unknown known, you would accumulate information without transformation. Without the unknown, you would never break through the limitations of your current framework. Together, they create the complete journey of transformation through action. Your invitation to begin. We have covered a lot of ground. Let me bring it together. We have built a solid foundation over 4 modules: self-awareness, soul connection, network, and strategic plans. This foundation is ready to support action. Action isn't just execution, it is creation, bringing your soul's inspiration from a spiritual realm into material reality. Through your specific journey, you create what has never existed before and could only come through you. This creative journey takes you through territories of the unknown. The known unknown, where you consciously seek answers. The unknown known, where beliefs shatter and personal transformation happens. And the unknown, where you retrieve the unique gifts you are meant to bring to the world. This is your moment. The foundation you have built has prepared you for this. You have a vision to see things. You have a vision to see things and to see where you are going. You have the energy of your soul's purpose. You have a network that provides material support. You have the plans that organize your efforts. Everything is in place. Now comes the part that changes everything. Taking action. Not someday. Not when you feel more ready. Not after one more preparation step. Now. Because action doesn't just move you toward your goals. Action transforms you into someone capable of achieving things you cannot currently imagine. Action activates all 4 of your human dimensions working together in harmony. The foundation is strong, the time is now. Your soul's inspiration is waiting to take material form. All that's missing is your decision to begin. Your assignment this week. Before we venture into the 3 unknowns in the coming weeks, you need crystal clarity about what drives you forward. This week, work through the worksheet we have prepared. Journey into the unknown. This worksheet builds on a fundamental work we have completed in modules 1 and 2. You will revisit the transformation you seek and the aspiration that calls to you. But now with deeper understanding. The worksheet guides you through creating 3 essential lists. Number 1. Unsolved questions nagging your mind. What questions have been circling in your thoughts for weeks, months, maybe years? What do you need to understand that you don't understand yet? These questions reveal your known-unknown territory. Number 2. Beliefs you want to test. What beliefs might be limiting you that we are now ready to question and to go? These reveal your unknown-known territory. Number 3. Aspirations. Aspirations you want to follow. What does your soul actually want to experience, create and contribute? Not what you think you should want, but what genuinely calls to you. These aspirations will guide you through all 3 territories. Why this matters. Clarity about your intentions and aspirations isn't just preparation for action. It's a compass that keeps you oriented as you venture into uncertain territory. When you encounter surprises, when beliefs start to shatter, when opportunities appear that don't fit your original plan, this clarity helps you distinguish between distractions that pull you off your course, necessary corrections, and unexpected opportunities aligned with your soul's purpose. Take your time with this worksheet. Be honest, be thorough. Let your aspirations speak clearly. Next week, armed with this clarity, we will begin the actual journey into action. In our next lesson, we will explore how to take your first step into action, not recklessly, but with the clarity we have just developed. We will look at starting where you are, with what you have, moving at a sustainable pace that honors both your courage and your wisdom. But first, gain that clarity. Work through the worksheet. Let your intentions and aspirations become crystal clear. The foundation is ready. Now prepare your compass for the journey ahead.